Okay, I am going to go ahead and work on cleaning the valve cover now. I'm just going to take some brake cleaner and carbon choke cleaner, get all this junk off the outside, spruce up the inside, get all the oily residue out, and just get it cleaned up, get the gunk out. So, just take some brake cleaner and some rags, spray it down, wipe it down, get clean. I mean, that's all there is to it. So I will show some after shots when I'm done. Alright, so I've just finished removing the old thermostat, and I really need to get to cleaning the engine where I'm going to reinstall the thermostat and the intake. But I didn't really feel comfortable doing a whole lot more before I got that valve cover put back on. And before I do that, I'd like to give it a fresh coat of paint. The old paint was chipping and peeling pretty badly, so I'm going to give it a fresh coat. It's not going to be the most beautiful thing ever. I didn't spend too much time prepping it, so it's probably not going to be all that durable, but at this point I'm just ready to get on with the project. So as you can see, I've already sort of stripped the flaking paint. You can see bare aluminum in some places, you can see primer in others. Basically, I just took a wire brush wheel, put it on my grinder, went over the whole thing pretty good with that, and then I fine-tuned it with some, small wire brushes. Then I wiped it down really good with some paint prep. This is the kind that I used. I gave it several good wipe downs with that. I also blew it off with a blow attachment to my compressor. Now I'm about to hit it with some primer, some engine paint. Got some Duplicolor. It's good up to 500 degrees. I figure that should be good for the valve cover. If it gets above that, then I think it probably means I've got an overheating problem. I got bigger problems than just the paint. So anyway, I'm going to put a couple of coats of primer on with this, then hit it with the finished paint. That's the color. It should match pretty close to what was there before. I guess this is the original color here. It's fairly close. It's not exact, but I don't really care. Just looking for something that's even. So anyway, I'm probably going to put a couple rags in the spark plug holes. I've got everything else masked off already. The PCV, grommet, all the holes that for the bolts that hold the valve cover on. So I'm going to hit it with some primer, and I'll show you the finished product when I'm done. Alright, so I gave it 3 coats of primer and 3 coats of finished paint. It's definitely not the prettiest thing in the world. In fact, if you look closely, it's really quite ugly. And I know it's going to peel again eventually, but for the sake of progress, I'm just calling it good. It's better than what it was. So, in any case, I'm ready to put it back on the vehicle now. Like I said, it's not the best paint job ever, but it's a whole lot better than it was before I scraped it clean and resprayed it. So anyway, my next step is get this back on the vehicle so I can finish cleaning the top of the head where the intake connects. So let me move on to that next, and then hopefully I will be shortly putting the intake back on. So moving forward. Alright, I'm ready to put the valve cover back on. You can see one of the spark plug tube grommets came off. 2 of them are still attached to the underside of the valve cover. The third one for cylinder 6 came off. So I've attached it to the spark plug tube. I'm probably going to put a little bit of like RTV silicone on the top edge to re-adhere it to the bottom of the valve cover. I'm not going to be driving this anytime soon, so it'll have plenty of time to set up. I've got the gasket inserted into the bottom of the valve cover, and I'm ready to set it in place and tighten it down. So one last look at the valves, and then I'll close this up, and I can move on to cleaning all this mess down here by the intake ports. I just didn't want to do that with the valve cover off, because all that gunk's going to go down into the engine. So anyway, let me get this buttoned up and I'll move on to cleaning.